Organized team activities today. Patriots and Cardinals aren't. They're doing mandatory minicamp. But as the Giants continued their OTAs, so did the continued absence of Odell Beckham Jr. Not there once again. Adam Schefter, what more can you tell us about why you think or believe Odell Beckham Jr. is not participating?
Trey, to me, the storyline on this, the narrative has been off all season long. Odell Beckham Jr. has absorbed criticism for being selfish, immature, staying away, not being a part of the team. He is making, in my mind, a right, responsible decision. Now, he, nor anyone in his camp, nor anyone with the Giants organization has admitted that this is contractual. But what other reason can it be for Odell Beckham Jr. staying away from the Giants at this point in time? He is scheduled to make $1.8 million this season. He is arguably the second most popular player in the entire NFL. I don't know that the Giants can win without him. It is the first time under his current contract that he is eligible for an extension that would raise that $1.8 million. And this is coming at a time, don't forget, when recently he got a new deal with Nike that pays him $5 million this year. So he's making almost 3 times as much from Nike as he would be from the Giants anyway. It behooves him not to be there. And as you yourself pointed out today, Trey, Hakeem Nicks once showed up to an offseason OTA program, broke his foot, never got paid, and that was a problem. And if you're Odell Beckham Jr., you're that good with moves like that, you stay away until you get what is deserved.
Yeah. In terms of receivers, Trey, this is the second best receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. I go Julio Jones. I go Julio Jones.
Then Odell, then Antonio Brown?
Yes, they're there, but it's Julio, then Odell. So he deserves his money. If this is a business decision, I guarantee you his teammates in that locker room don't have a problem with it because they know that there are certain times where you have little leverage in this league against teams. And if Odell Beckham Jr. considers this the contract play that he has to do, if they don't know right now if this is a contract play, if he isn't there for the mandatory minicamp, that's when you start to figure it out that, okay, now this guy, this is what he's talking about.
And that's coming up in about 10
next
days,
week,
right?
yeah.
Next week, yeah.
Yeah, so
if we do indeed find out this is about the contract, and it seems like the tea leaves suggest that's the reason why, it's interesting to see how people latch on to their presumptions early on in a process and run with that. So, for example, Aaron Donald has missed a significant number of OTAs out in Los Angeles. We're not talking about that. A lot of people are saying, you know something? That guy might be the best defensive player in the NFL this side of J.J. Watt.
He might be the best player
right,
in
exactly.
the NFL.
So anyways, the point is these are two players of basically transcendent talent. And because we knew right away what Aaron Donald's motivation was, people have accepted it. Whereas with Odell Beckham Jr., people just jump to conclusions that all of a sudden the narrative has been twisted every different way.
That's why, to me, the best thing he could do is just issue a simple statement. I would love to be there, and will be there once my contract situation is resolved.
Just so people, for perspective, the $1.8 million, there are 44 wide receivers going to make more than $1.8.
Right, and because of that, he cannot afford. He cannot afford.
So you're saying this is actually the mature thing to do here?
This is the mature right thing to do, is not show up at all. He would be crazy to show up.
There may be an immature behavior on the field or on the sideline or things like that, but this is not immature. This is about business. All of the teammates in the locker room know this. And Odell Beckham Jr., his teammates, right now in June, his teammates don't have a problem.
Let me tell you something.
If this goes into where training camp,
late August, September,
here comes early September. So what? We need you to win football. That's when that's when his teammates will say, well, now we want you here. We want you here. We need you to beat the Redskins on week 2 or something like that.
He needs a new contract.
If he thinks that way, his teammates are thinking, just get it done before the regular season starts.
The last time we saw a player really of major consequence sit out multiple regular season games because of unhappiness surrounding a contract was Cam Chancellor just a couple of years ago with Seattle. Now, Seattle stood its ground and said, no way, we're not doing it. But the difference here might be that Cam Chancellor had already signed that lucrative extension with Seattle. He wanted an even more lucrative deal. Odell Beckham Jr.
He's on a rookie contract. He's on his rookie contract.
It is what it is. Now he should be saying to himself, every other wide receiver at my caliber is making $14 million per year. I'm worth probably at least that.
Well, he would be fined if he doesn't show up to mandatory minicamp. He would be fined if he doesn't show up to training camp. And I would say to that, thank you, Nike. Yeah. Thank you, Nike.
You're saying you're fine with it?
Because they get to fund my holdout until I get the deal that I deserve.
So, this is going to be his 4th season, right?
Correct.
So not only do they hold his rights this year, they can also put on the 5th-year extension,
which they did,
which they have done. So they got him there, and then they can franchise. So they really have his rights without any really need to negotiate for at least another 3 years.
And that's why he cannot get full dollar. And he will not get full dollar. But he can get a new deal because it's going to be very hard for them to win without him. So that's where both sides have to find a common ground, something that works for Odell Beckham Jr., that recognizes he's not going to be paid like Antonio Brown perhaps, and something for the Giants where they say, we have a player who has outperformed his contract and is deserving of a new deal.
And to your point about being hard to win, it will be hard to win without him if there are any non-quarterback offensive players that really dictate an offense. Without them, was subtracted that player from the team and they would be worlds different. It's this offense. The New York Giant offense, without Odell Beckham Jr., without that speed, without that catch and run, without the threat where defensive coordinators have to account for him, this would be a totally different offense.
It's interesting you mentioned, as we get ready to move on, you mentioned Antonio Brown. There was a placeholder deal that Antonio Brown took that gave him something and gave the Steelers something. And then, of course, he went out and did ungodly things, unworldly things.